In this video, I'm going to be looking at a C3i Magazine number 16. It has the cover article of Europe engulfed. So there's a few articles in here of interest. One here that I thought was really nice. You get a picture here from Tempe from quite a few years ago, and you got Richard Berg in there, and you got Roger McGowan. So, you know, these are good old days. They're playtesting a game that apparently is already out. You know, this is what year was this? 2005? A couple of years ago. Anyway, that's in the news and information, but we've got some scenarios here for SBQR. There's a lot of coverage for that back in the day, and there's some really nice scenario articles in here and scenarios and what you need to bring in to represent the various pieces out of the game that you already have. This is two articles here on Reds, which is a game designed by Ted Racer on the Russian Civil War. And this article is called Peace, Land, and Bread, not necessarily in that order. And Ananda Gupta writes an article on how to play the red side in that game. And then he has a second article, If Not Us, Then Who? Playing the whites in Reds. And this is also by Ananda Gupta. And he describes the strategy that you might want to use. I have this game. Reds is an excellent game on that topic of the Russian Civil War. So I think that it's not too difficult to get, at least in the secondhand market. I don't know if it's still in print or not. It seems like it got a second printing. There is another article in here by Steve Carey on the rise of the Republic of Rome. I think this was the first in Richard Berg's new series at the time called the Ancient World series. And of course, it had Carthage come out later, which covers the First Punic War. And now we're all waiting for Thunderbolt at the time of this video to come out to kind of complete this series. And I believe there's also a re-release of the Rise of the Roman Republic as well as First Carthage with Thunderbolt if you want to get, you know, a tri-pack. So there's a lot of information in here about Rise of the Roman Republic, which is quite interesting addition to that game. There's also a scenario in here for gringos, and it's the Battle of Churubusco in 1847, and it's a scenario that's provided. There's quite a few pages of information to introduce that scenario into your gringos game. There is another article, a backhander for von Manstein's Backhand Blow. Now, I've played the Backhand Blow battle before in other systems, especially in Enemy at the Gates, has a really nice scenario in the Operational Combat series. I've never played this game, von Manstein's Backhand Blow from GMT. And I don't know if it's in print anymore or not, but there is an article in here that really zeroes in on some of the strategies you might be thinking. Similarly, we find an article here on June 6th from the GMT game on D-Day. This is a game that I used to have and I have played. It's a very good game. It's not overly complicated and it's manageable. It's not like the GMT Battle for Normandy game, which is fairly, you know, lumbering. But it's a short article that looks at, you know, some of the thoughts about this game and why it's fun. There is a bit of material in here for Down in Flames, the struggle for the Aleutians, and is that the only one in here? I don't know, but I have some content here. So I have like the scenario chart for the Aleutians and for the Bismarck Sea. And then I've got some, you know, aircraft for the Americans and the Japanese. And then I have Dutch Harbor. I do not have Down in Flames. I've never played it. So it's interesting looking through, perusing it. And there's a lot of material here. if you wanted to add that into your system, but make sure you have all the inserts. And then there's a new scenario in here. It's the cover article, actually, for Ruin of the Reich. It is a scenario of the end of the war for Europe Aflame. So seems like that's a GMT block game. So there's your setups, and then there's a Remembering Redmond Simonson article. So and I think Richard Berg maybe put some of that a comment in here. Kevin Zucker had a comment, and Mark Herman had a comment, and Roger McGowan had a comment all about Redmond Simonson. Apparently they all worked with him, so we know he's a phenomenal mind for graphic design. So anyway, that's what you get in this old issue of C3i number 16 from the year 2005. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you have a great day.